Hi, my name is Sarah, and I'm lead teacher here at Squiggle Park. I wanted to go over with you behavior management tips for a 21st century classroom. I will be sharing Classroom Management 101. We'll be discussing consistent routines when introducing station rotation model, starting out simple, enforce expectations for devices from day one, have reasonable consequences, utilize your student experts, managing passwords, and using headphones. The station rotation model is a course or subject in which students rotate on a fixed schedule or at the teacher's discretion between learning modalities, at least one of which involves technology. As you can see, my students here are on a station rotation model. Here they're working on word work. Over here they're working on beginning sounds with Osmo. Back here they're using Squiggle Park. Over here they're working on reading comprehension. And this frees me up to be still doing guided reading at the back table. This is a chart that can be found on the Squiggle Park resource page. It's our station rotation model chart. As you can see, I'm putting the days of the week on this side, or you could put the times. Over here I have my groups, and then I have which stations they will be at. So for instance, on Monday, group 1 is on Squiggle Park. Group 2 is using QR codes. Group 3 is on Osmo. Group 4 is on Bunsey, and Group 5 is going to be reading with actual books in their hand, which I think is still important to incorporate because that's such an important part of reading. Now, my literacy block tends to be a little bit shorter, and it only runs for about a half hour. So I tend to just have the kids stay on one station each day. But if you have older students or you have a longer literacy block, feel free to rotate them maybe 2 or 3 times within that literacy model. With young students, you want to make sure to introduce the station slowly. So first I'll model a station, and then I'll share it whole class, usually on the projector screen, and we work through it together so that they understand what I expect of them. And then we'll practice it, and then towards the end of the week, I'll let a few students demonstrate for us, and we'll talk about what we noticed that they did well, and then I'm ready to include it in my literacy block. Students should help create rules and about devices and technology in your classroom. If they create the rules, then they're taking more ownership of it. Here are some examples of rules that I've created with my students. Hold devices with both hands when moving them. Use hand sanitizer before using the device. When someone is talking, shut off or close your device. Only use apps and websites that your teacher approves. And keep food or drink away from devices. Return devices when you are finished and plug back in. You want to have reasonable consequences. If you do not use the device properly, it should be taken away. If you take a device away from the student, make sure you've thought about what they can do instead. Be aware not to tell them that they can read if they finish early, because by telling them to read, you're basically making reading a punishment, and reading should really be a reward. So see if they can do whatever they're working on just on a piece of paper, or have them do work that needs to be finished, say in their work to finish folder. Student experts. As you can see, my students have created these hats, and they are just a powerful part of my literacy block and my blended learning in my classroom. So the hats, having these student experts allows students to investigate and become experts at one or more things. Often my students will really enjoy one particular program that we use in the classroom or one app, and so they go home and spend more time learning about it and are able to share these tips with other students. It builds confidence, and it allows the teacher to work one-on-one or with a small group without being interrupted. Management and storage is always pretty tricky, and so I wanted to share this with you. I know many of you don't have a lot of room in your classrooms, so I print my passwords on cards and laminate them, and I put them on a silver ring, which I can then hang from their desks. And I do this with headphones as well. Headphones are put on hooks the same way, and they're labeled. And I know it's tricky to sometimes get those extra accessories, let alone have devices in your classroom. Be sure to check out our Donors Choose video, where I give you some tips on how you can get donations for your classroom. Benefits of using headphones. Using headphones eliminates the noise. Students stay more focused on what they are doing. And when I'm speaking or another student is speaking, my students are trained to take off the headphones and rest them on their neck so that they can listen to instructions. Obviously, you want to have that collaboration time too. So if students are working on a device together, you may not want to have them on headphones. And one final tip, which I notice when I go into classrooms that this is a pretty valuable one, is taking advantage of URL shorteners. Some of the most popular are Bitly and Google. And basically, if you have created a playlist or something and you want the kids to watch it, you don't want them to have to type in this long URL address. So by using a shortener and typing the long address into Bitly, you can either create and personalize, so it's a much shorter URL for them to look at. And actually, there's an example here on the next page. So this is my classroom management in a blended learning classroom. This is a playlist, which you will now have resource to. And instead of having you have to type in a long URL, I have given you one here. So Bitly, Class Management 101. So feel free to take a look at these resources, share them with your friends. You'll get to see some videos of how my classroom works. And we are active on Twitter and would love to have you follow us at Squiggle Park EDU. And my own personal Twitter is at EdTechSay. If you could follow us, we sure would love it. And once again, being lead teacher at Squiggle Park means that you can reach out to me anytime. I'm here for you to support you in your classroom. And I can be reached at sarah@squigglepark.com. Thanks so much and good luck managing your own classroom.